Welcome back everybody to Forza Motorsport. So we're continuing on with the mid-engine tour, and yeah, for this championship we're going to be doing the mid-engine monsters for the first two races for this episode, and then the next two in the next one. So yeah, let's see what cars are we've got in store for this one, and what our first race is going to be. Oh, there's no preamble. I thought there was going to be some talking going on there. So yeah, we've got cars to choose from the likes of Ferrari with the Enzo Ferrari, which, yeah, huge amount of power from its V12 engine. For something from 2002, that was, yeah, properly powerful, more powerful than even a McLaren F1. Then we got the 1999 Lamborghini Diablo GTR, not quite as much power from its same sized engine as the Ferrari there, and obviously it does weigh a bit more, and yeah, the handling isn't as good either, but being a Lamborghini, it is a bit more spirited to drive. Then we got the MC12, which is basically the Enzo in a different kind of body, and yeah, but slightly less power as well because it is a more of a racing version of a car. Roadway version of a racing car, should I say. So yeah, then we got the F1 GT, which slightly larger engine than the Enzo and the Diablo there, but yeah, not as much power, but a lot less in the way of weight. And yeah, pretty damn good handling and braking for a car from 1997. Then we've got a pair of Porsches. We've got the Carrera GT, 5.7 litre V10, nowhere near not much power as some of the other cars, but yeah, very much a great car as far as I'm concerned. One of the best sounding V10 engines ever made. And then we've got the 911 GT1 Stratton's version, which is basically a big racing version of the 911. One of the best handling and braking cars here, but not the most powerful, but also not all that heavy either. And then finally the Saleen S7 from 2004, celebrating its 20th anniversary, 7 litre V8, so it's the biggest cubic capacity engine here, 550 horsepower, doesn't weigh all that much, and a hefty amount of torque as well. So yeah, I'm most tempted by the Saleen just because it's one of my favourite cars. Especially once we got, I think it was the LM version, which was, yeah, even better. I don't know. Lamborghini's tempting, just because, yeah, again, I am a massive fan of Lamborghini. But I feel like we've used them before, as well as Ferrari and Maserati. So, yeah, I'm gonna go for the Saleen. It's the most expensive one here as well, 297. Yeah. No, the Enzo is slightly most expensive, but it's the second most expensive one here, even slightly more than the F1 GT. But I feel like it's got a really rather upgradable base to it. The engine is endless tunable, it doesn't weigh all that much, and yeah, it's got a right amount of power and weight on the go as well. So yeah, let's get it, and let's get it in orange. I like the car in orange. And being American, it's quite obviously a brash car. It's got chrome wheels, for Christ's sake, but it's a formidable car regardless. So yeah, let's go race at Silverstone for 6 laps, and it's a Grand Prix circuit, so the full circuit. So yeah, as per usual though, we're not going to upgrade the car to start with. We're going to see what this car is made of in stock form only, and yeah, it should do pretty well. Like I said, it's not the lightest car here, but it's certainly not the heaviest, and yeah, 550 horsepower. I saw the small amount, and obviously it does have a pretty much as much torque on top of that.
It's hard to understand how massive Silverstone is.
Should be fairly good. I hope, but you never know. It's hard to say when a car in stock form is going to perform well or not compared to cars that aren't in stock form, because these cars will be upgraded regardless. But hopefully we'll put up a fair good fight. So yeah, this game has had a fair few changes to it, to be honest. We've now got a drift mode, which is something I've tried out, which is difficult given this is obviously a more simulated kind of game than, say, Forza Horizon 5. But yeah, it was rewarding to slowly back up my score and get it higher and higher per lap. So that's something I do recommend trying out if you haven't already. We've also had a brace of Mustangs being added to this game in various forms, drift cars. We've got a racing car from I think the 70s from a Mustang, which we've never had in a Forza game before, and we've also got a new Saleen that I don't think we've had before, because Saleen obviously not only do their own cars like this, but they also did many a upgraded Mustang over the years, so yeah, it's nice to have one of theirs in this, and more importantly we've got a new track, well a new track to the game, but not a new track to the Forza series, as it is Sunset Peninsula, which we've not had on a Forza game since Forza Motorsport 4. Been that long that it didn't immediately twig my brain about what track it actually was. But as soon as I got around that first corner, I had a flashback to a race that I had on that track where I thought there were only 3 laps, but it turned out to be 4, and I put down my controller thinking that the race was over, but obviously it wasn't, so I had to quickly pick that up before I crashed into a wall, which very nearly did, which was quite a shock, because obviously I wasn't expecting that to happen. But yeah, fantastic track. Really glad it's come back. Does make me hope that other Forza Motorsport 4 tracks will make a return. I know a certain YouTuber would love the likes of the New York track to make a return. Yeah, maybe that will at some point. Completely screwed that corner up. But who knows? You never know whether or not certain tracks will make a return or not. Quite frankly, the more tracks that are added to this game, the better. At the end of the day, they are planning on this game being a very long-term investment in terms of releasing it as a base game last year now, in fact, a year ago, and then adding to it over a long period of time. Tracks, cars, game modes, and such and such. And to be honest, this game has gotten better over time. Definitely has. Especially in terms of the tracks that are on the game, and the multiplayer working more and more, and the multiplayer itself also coming up with new kind of races to do. I really like the multi-class event, where basically you just go around the same track as much as possible in the space of 16 minutes, and there's a bunch of different classes competing against each other. Obviously some are going to be slower than the others, but yeah, it's just really interesting, that kind of race, and it's my favourite kind of race to do on this game now as well. So yeah, it has gotten strength to strength, but the one aspect of this game that is still really rather quite weak for me is the car list. Yes, cars are being added, but they're not being added fast enough, and they're not being numerous enough of them either. You have to look at the Forza Horizon 5 Festival playlist, where you know, we regularly get 4 cars at the very least a month, and then on top of that, you know, we've had car packs being added, we've had free cars being added into the gifting box. So yeah, Forza Horizon 5 has excelled at adding cars. It's not excelled as well in terms of the online component. I do think this game is more enjoyable online, but in terms of the kind of cars, the Forza Horizon 5 does have the better variety and more cars on there that I do enjoy driving in stock form or otherwise. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. I wish the car list for Forza Horizon 5 was just transplanted onto this game, and then obviously all of the racing cars were added on top of that, and then this would be pretty much the perfect game, to be honest. But unfortunately that's not been the case. Now granted, some cars from this game have been added into Forza Horizon 5. We've recently got the Mitsubishi FTO, which is a fantastic car that was in this game originally. We also got the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution GSR3, which again was also in this game to start with, which again is another fantastic car that was also added into Forza Horizon 5. So yeah, there is some cross-pollination there, even with this game in terms of the Forza Horizon 5 car list. You know, the Mustang Dark Horse was added to Forza Horizon 5, and it's only recently been added to this game to celebrate, you know, the Mustang month that we've got going on. So there is definitely some sharing going on. I just wish there was a hell of a lot more coming from Forza Horizon 5 onto this game than the other way around. There's a lot of cars on that game that I really do enjoy driving, and I know full well I'd enjoy driving even more on this game with its physics that are better and the tracks that are more interesting to drive around than the courses on Forza Horizon 5. So still a lot of room for improvement with this game, but I do feel like they're getting somewhere with it. They're just not getting somewhere with it fast enough for me. But I'm going to stick with it because, you know, they are adding these championships like this one. And obviously we did the Road to Race Tour as well, which was really fun. And then after we've done this championship and the next one, then we're going to be doing the Mustang Tour as well, which I'm really looking forward to because I am a big fan of muscle cars, and yeah, the Mustang has obviously been an icon for going on 6 decades now, so I'm looking forward to going through those championships. Also enjoying the kind of cars I can race on this game to some extent. Really like, for instance, my Mercedes Benz.
3 left.
I think it's the SL65 Black Series car. I think it's an S class that I've been racing it in. It's formidable on Le Mans, purely because of the amount of power and torque it's got. It's got 785 horsepower and well in excess of 800 pounds-feet of torque, and it just absolutely skyrockets down straights. Eats pretty much any car it comes up against, and yeah, I got a convincing win on a multi-class race at Le Mans with the chicanes, Circuit de la Sarthe, I think it's called. So yeah, that was really fun to drive on that track in that class of racing. Now that obviously the upgrades have opened up, where you can use credits instead of the stupid CP point thing, you know, you can experiment more now with cars on this game. And experimentation is the key to a game like this being, you know, around for a long time. That's why Forza Horizon 5 I'm still playing. It's not just because new cars are being added, it's because I can experiment with those new cars. I can experiment with other cars, see what they're like. So I love just experimenting with cars and then racing them out there and seeing what works and what doesn't. And I wouldn't for the life of me expected that Mercedes-Benz that I just talked about to work as well as it does, with the amount of power I've given it and the fact it's hardly a lightweight. You know, it still weighs well in excess of 3,000 pounds, and yet the hilarious amount of power that it's got and the ridiculous straight line speed, can do nearly 230 miles an hour, just makes that car really fun to drive, and an unexpected fun car to drive as well. That's why I'm really glad that upgrades now can be bought rather than just using points. Granted, I did work my way around, you know, the point system when it was in, you know, the only way to actually upgrade a car, and that was a reasonable way of doing it and a fun enough way of doing it. But I'm sorry, I don't want to clip any car here. Yeah, I found a reasonable way of doing it. We didn't hit. No, we didn't. It looked like we did, but we didn't. Yeah, I found a reasonable way around of doing it. I basically just took a car around for a couple of laps on free play, used what points that gained me, and then just went online and just drove it continuously until I slowly upgraded the car. Slowly found the ways of making it better, and it was getting gradually faster and more competitive, and that was good. But at the end of the day, that could also waste time, as it did on a fair few occasions with certain cars where they just weren't working in the class that I wanted them in, or just weren't working at all with any kind of upgrades, and it's a waste of time. And because CP wasn't, you know, able to be used across any car, they were only specific to the car that you were using, it made experimentation like that risking wasting time, basically. Whereas that just isn't the case now with using normal credits. So yeah, I feel like the game's gotten better because of that, mainly. But there is still room for improvement, like I said, especially when it comes to the car list and stop being so race car centric. But this Saleen here is doing surprisingly well. It's not often we get a podium position with a stock car on these championships. And we do have more power and torque than the Porsche up front. I think that's actually slightly less in terms of weight than we are. I get the feeling that we're about the same in terms of handling. Maybe the Porsche's slightly better because it has potentially more aerodynamic downforce.
One more lap.
Definitely gain on the straights. Which is probably a bit quicker at the corners though with that turbocharged engine. Gain on them. Can we actually get a win in the stock car? Lightly. Yes, we do. And by more than a second as well. That is, yeah. Well, that just shows that the Saleen was a wise choice to go for. No, it's not the most powerful. No, it's not the lightest, but it is a good medium between the fastest and the lightest. So, yeah. Pretty impressed with that car. So, we've got, yeah, a good lead now. 3 points over second place. So let's see what upgrades we can give the car, and yeah, see if we can make it even better. Right, we're at Spa for the next race, so that is quite a speed orientated circuit, but it also has plenty of handling elements to it as well. So we're going to improve the braking. No, I don't think we're going to do weight reduction. We already are quite light. We're going to go for sport tyres. We're not going to go for race ones because, as we know, they do wear out quite quickly. And obviously we are going to be going at quite some speeds, and that will wear the tyres down more. I'm surprised we can't make them wider, but I guess we can't do everything all of the time. Right, power. I'm thinking let's turbocharge it. And slightly improve the power that it's got from the rest of it. I do want an even number, I would prefer that. But if not, then we can't. Go 635, weighing 2,700 pounds. But we are going to knock out some more weight by making the flywheel a sport flywheel. Can't go all full race, but we're still knocking out another £6, and that's £6 less for the engine to deal with. So yeah, I'm happy with that. And as per usual, we just can use our credits instead of car points. Right, so now we are going to do 0 to 16 3.239 seconds, 0 to 106.79 seconds, and going to a top speed of 235 miles an hour, which is pretty tasty. And what do we have in terms of overall stats? So 635 horsepower, 606 pounds-feet of torque, weighing at 2,694 pounds, 40-60 split in terms of weight distribution, and yeah, those are the overall stats. Handling and braking could obviously be better. We know that, but we already know that the car is a pretty good handling and braking car anyway. So the additional, upgrades we've given it in that regard are only going to help. So yeah, we've got a 3-lap race at Spa, and yeah, it's the kind of track that will, benefit from us having or will at least help us use our speed and acceleration that we've got going on. Yes, it has its handling elements, especially Eau Rouge, but I still feel like, going for the power, going for the acceleration, while still improving the handling and braking is going to be a good compromise. Right, so let's whack the fuel down. 40%. Right, let's go. Hopefully we can replicate the success, but obviously we do have more power now, and therefore a riskier, more risk of crashing or outbraking ourselves. Those turbochargers will certainly help. To providing that extra oomph. Lamborghini being very brave there and going into the back of a Mercedes almost. Speed. Glad I upgraded those brakes with all this extra speed we've got going on. So handling wise it still feels pretty planted, so I think we have got a good compromise between the handling and the acceleration and speed that we've got going on. Since we are rocketing out corners. Quite got a podium position yet, but we're not exactly far off, especially considering we're not even finished our first lap yet. Really do fly out the corners pretty nicely with the acceleration. McLaren having a massive amount of understeer there and turning right back into us. Right, so no penalty there. Fact is, in terms of top speed, this is nearly as quick as a normal McLaren F1, so I guess that kind of puts it in perspective of how powerful this actually is. The F1 GT, which obviously is the car that we are racing against, not as good in terms of top speed because of all the extra downforce it has going on, but that does consequently mean that it's also better in terms of handling. The upgrades it's got is definitely out handling us. Got such a savage turn of speed that we are mostly making up for our lack of handling in comparison to that. Doing then, coming across our bonnet.
Final lap, you got this.
Definitely slightly closer to both of them. Completely messed that corner up. It's way too hard and on a really odd angle of attack. That was my fault. We can still dip under the inside of him. His fault, because he turned into me even though I was right alongside. Finally made the pass. Let's try and hunt down this Porsche, but we don't have very long to make up 2 seconds. If it's the same Porsche from the previous race, but I'm pretty sure it is. So if that's the case, we'll basically have the points that they had after the last race. Or gain the same amount of points, should I say. In terms of speed. You can never get that corner out without, you know, going way too slow. not get the braking right there, but I don't think even if we did, we would have been able to overtake. We were just stuck behind that McLaren just for a little bit too long. But still, second place is good. It's just not as good as before. I think the car was generally better suited to Silverstone than it was Spa.
Good work
But
out
we still
there.
gained 10 places over where we started. And yeah, we are level pegging with the Porsche for points. So, and yeah, even the McLaren is only, what, 7 points behind us. So still pretty much everything to play for there. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, especially my rambling about this game and Forza Horizon 5. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one when we'll do the next 2 races. Bye!